just laying in the sun, you feel its warmth, it feels so nice. It's like we're photosynthesizing happiness. In fact, that's exactly what we're doing. Yeah, like a plant, but instead of making sugars, we make happiness. So how much sunlight do we actually need to be happy? The benefits actually greatly outweigh the possible problems, and chances are you aren't getting as much sun as you need to be. We're going to talk about how getting sun can make you happier, and what goes wrong when you stay inside for too long. For those I haven't met yet, I'm Luke the Orange, and I research the science of happiness because I want to find a scientific way to be happier. Now I want to share it so we can all know how to be happy. Think about subscribing if you would like to be happier. Oh yeah. Sun's out, guns out! Sun exposure on your skin helps produce chemicals that increase your happiness and health in dramatic ways. Don't only plants do that photosynthesizing thing though? I mean, yeah, but no. I mean, mostly? Still no though. It's complicated. The first and simplest example is when our skin is exposed to the sun, or UVB, it produces endorphins. Yeah, the stuff that reduces pain and boosts pleasure, it's basically an opioid. Good old addictive opioids. Oh, wait. It's kind of the same for the sun. The sun helps produce endorphins that can become addictive. I feel like we all have met someone who does seem to be a little too into tanning. But this makes me want to ask why our body is doing this, and it makes me think of why we get a good feeling after eating sugary foods. At its basis, the calories from the sugar are good for our survival, so the sun should be good for us too. But as eating too much sugar can cause problems, so can getting too much sun. Everything in moderation? Even moderation. So what is so good about the sun that we need to be encouraged to be outside? Our skin photosynthesizes vitamin D. Vitamin D helps our bodies regulate a lot of things, and one of them is serotonin. You may have heard of serotonin, another one of the main chemicals in our brains that make us happy. Serotonin helps us regulate our mood, keeps us focused, and feeling happy. When we don't have enough serotonin, we can get depressed, and a common antidepressant is called an SSRI. Selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor can be prescribed to help. This drug helps keep serotonin working longer in the brain. Similar to what vitamin D does a little. But vitamin D does much more than that. The overall health benefits it produces definitely contribute to our general well-being. Vitamin D's main role is to regulate calcium and phosphate metabolism, helping us maintain our metabolism and skeleton. In fact, most cells and organs have vitamin D receptors and can activate vitamin D. As a result, vitamin D actually has a large influence over our whole body. This may explain the association with vitamin D deficiencies and increases in chronic diseases like autoimmune disease, cardiovascular disease, infections, arthritis, asthma, schizophrenia, diabetes, and all sorts of cancers. Being in the sun just makes us healthier. Moving closer to the equator, which gets more sun, the amount of deaths from cancer dramatically drop by around 35%. But what's that I hear about skin cancer? Yeah, the risk of skin cancer does increase, but by 0.3%. You know what helps increase the survival rate from skin cancer? Continued high exposure to the sun. That really is fighting fire with fire, or light with light? There are also protective benefits against bacterial and viral infections, which may explain why we have seasonal diseases. Like flu season, you know, in the winter when we get less sun. It's strange how those things match up. All in all, our bodies work better in the sun. Being healthier also helps with our mental state. If anyone has had a chronic illness, they will tell you that. We talked about how the seasons affect our physical health, but what happens to our mood when we don't get enough sun? Sometimes we get sad. Not sad, well, I mean, maybe sad, but that's because you have SAD. Seasonal affect disorder. SAD. Don't you just love it when scientists are dads? And moms. This disorder happens in the wintertime when people get less direct sunlight for a long period of time. We can get depressed, we get moody, we're apathetic, we can have trouble sleeping and eating. All because we're sad. Thanks to our modern marvels, you can be sad any time of the year now. Oh. For all of us who rarely get outside and spend a lot of time indoors, at a computer, or just spending too much time watching YouTube. It's not you, it's me. Yeah, it's me. And if you'd like to watch even more, try another one of my videos right here. Shameless plug. Nowadays, we all spend most of our time inside without any direct sunlight. It's great. We don't get gross and sweaty or sunburned. We also don't get the proper production of chemicals our bodies need because we evolved to be out in the sun for some time. Measurements show that most people who live in the modern world are deficient in vitamin D. I know at least I feel different in the winter. It's subtle, but I don't feel like quite myself. Even in the summer when I am inside working for too many days, just going outside for a little bit makes me feel better. Just go outside, everyone. This started in the Industrial Revolution when we started to work inside more, and a disease was created called rickets. Rickets is when our bones get all soft and bendy. Lovely. Remember how vitamin D helps with metabolizing calcium? When your body can't get enough of it, it steals it from your bones. Now we don't see rickets much anymore because we learned how to counteract it with supplements in our foods. But before we did that, one of the methods for helping with the disease was sunbathing. You also see communities in the far north like Russia and the Netherlands use ultraviolet radiation therapy to help children in the winter months. Sunbathing isn't just a medical procedure. As you know, it is also enjoyable to spend time in the sun. We tend to be more active when the sun is out and the weather is nicer. A sunny day at the beach is much nicer than an overcast day if I do say so myself. We go on more hikes, play more sports. We are just usually more physically active when the sun is out. Sunlight indirectly increases our happiness this way. Being physically active is another way to improve our happiness. But we are talking about vitamin D. So how much does our skin actually need, and how does it actually make this magical substance? It kind of works the same way you get skin cancer, but in a good way. The UV light gets absorbed by something in the skin and that something gets altered. For DNA, that can be bad because we usually don't want that to change. What if our skin just happens to put some molecules that if they get hit by UV light transform into vitamin D? Because that would be really convenient. And what do you know? That's exactly what our skin does. And the UV light creates that bend. And that's how we photosynthesize vitamin D. Well, after the skin, it goes to the liver, then the kidneys where they both hydroxylate vitamin D. Then we have an active form of vitamin D, 1,25-dihydroxyvitamin D, or known as calcitriol. But that's just the body doing its thing, and it all starts with the sun. This is all happening in our skin and in our blood, but that's not where our happiness is. It's in our brains. The vitamin D in our skin gets into our blood and then circulates around. Easy enough. There's this blood-brain barrier though that prevents a lot of things from transferring from our blood into our brains. For example, most bacteria and viruses don't get in, which is good. We want that. Vitamin D is one of the things that can get passed through the barrier, which is why it can help regulate serotonin in our brains, making us happier. The sun can make us happier, but how much do we really need? For starters, vitamin D supplements can be helpful, but I'm a believer in trying to get the real stuff. But we can't always get what we want. This is also going to depend on what your skin tone is, what latitude you live at, what season it is, what time of day it is, and how much skin you're showing. It can only take as little as 3 minutes out in the sun to get enough vitamin D. For most Caucasians, it's around 3 to 15 minutes to get enough UVB to get a good dose of vitamin D to stay healthy. For people with darker complexions, it could take up to 15 to 30 minutes. And we probably only need to be out in the sun about every other day. That doesn't sound so bad, so why is everyone vitamin D deficient? This is where things get less simple. We need to talk about what time it is, where you live, and what time of year it is. This is all assuming you have about 40% of your skin exposed. So that means you're wearing shorts and a short sleeve shirt, legs, arms, and face exposed. Sun's out, guns out! It's for your happiness. But your facial skin is not the best at making vitamin D and is one of the prime places to getting sunburnt, so protect your face. As one would imagine, summer is the best time to get some sun and get vitamin D. This 3-minute mark is achieved at summer at noon when the sun is hitting you directly. Even in the best season, summer, you can only achieve this good sun between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. You know, the hottest time of the day when we like to hide inside? Yeah. When it's not summer, things get even less fun. If you live north of the 35th latitude, there are issues. For America, that latitude is around LA and Atlanta, and all of Europe is north of it. From October to March, at this latitude, we can't get enough sunlight to produce enough vitamin D to be healthy or happy. It's kind of like half the year where there's no way for a lot of us to get enough vitamin D. The closer we get to the equator, the better it becomes to get vitamin D for more of the year. And if we are using sunscreen, that basically blocks all the UVB and all the other stuff, but if you have it on, you won't get any of the benefits. But you are being protected from being burnt. That's the trade-off. So how do we actually know how much sun we should get? We all have different skin, but I bet we all know our own skin pretty well. A good rule of thumb is, you know about how long it takes for your skin to get to that kind of reddish pink tone after being out in the sun? A good dose of sun is half that time. All that being said, you might be seeing why we have a vitamin D deficiency problem. So how do we get enough vitamin D when the situation isn't working out? Food and supplements. So we could take a supplement and then that's kind of that. But talk to your doctor. A little more natural, we can get it from food. How much do you like fish? For a day, 1 serving of salmon is all you need. Easy enough. Or 2 servings of halibut, 2 cans of tuna, 15 servings of cod, or 100 eggs? Yeah, so that can get a little crazy. So we started to fortify some foods like milk and orange juice. Just 1 quart of fortified milk will get you a daily dose in vitamin D. There are different ways to get vitamin D, but nothing's better than going outside and getting some sun. It keeps you healthy and makes you happier. And don't forget to subscribe to become happier. And let me know down below how you're gonna get your vitamin D or what made you happy today. I'd like to hear about it. Thanks for watching. Create happiness together.